had myself a nasty little accident. Crashed into this big old tree. You might say, I sort of died!
This is Are You Afraid of the Dark? Specifically, the pilot episode titled The Tale of the Phantom Cab. Now, while this episode originally aired on August 15th, 1992, it's not technically a Halloween episode, but it still gets a pass because it served as the official kickoff to a series that became gateway horror to an entire generation of people. Now, specifically, I think what Are You Afraid of the Dark did best was they blended in this feeling of continuity around an anthology series. So if you don't know what an anthology series is, every single week you get a brand new set of characters and a brand new story in brand new settings. There is no through line. It's just a brand new drop you in an experience, and you have to learn everybody from scratch every week. What ended up happening was, throughout the entire series, we had this group of people that would eventually, we would learn their names, kind of see them as our own friends that we get to hang out with every single Saturday night on Snick at 9:30. And then, of course, in, the dozens of syndication reruns that we all caught in the mid to late 90s. That's what I think Dark did best. They were targeting this demographic of people that thrived on continuity. I mean, we ate the same cereal, watching the same shows and cartoons almost every single day. We liked having main characters. We liked having references and inlines and stuff. But the fact that they were able to do something so different, but still make it feel familiar, hats off. So cool. So, what is the Midnight Society, you might ask? Well, I'm so glad you did. Thank you. It's a group of kids that get together once a week to tell scary stories after dark in the woods. And the only thing that they have in common is simply that. A lot of them play different sports, go to different schools, have different interests and hobbies and friend groups and all those things. But the love of the supernatural and telling scary stories is the one thing that binds them all together. It's the one thing that brings them back every single week to share a new story. It's pretty special. Now, in order to initiate yourself or to become a member of the Midnight Society, somebody who's already an existing member has to vouch for you. They have to sponsor you. And what that means, as we learn in episode 1, is that if you were to sponsor somebody that you wanted to be in the group, they would be blindfolded. You would walk them to the secret meeting spot in the woods and then have them tell their scary story. If everyone in the group unanimously voted a thumbs up, you got to stay in the group. The weird part about this episode, of course, you'll probably remember, is that they didn't let the new guy, Frank Moore, take his blindfold off. So this dude had to tell a scary story for damn near 20 minutes blindfolded. I don't know. I thought that was a little bit extra, but, it is what it is, dude. So eventually, Frank gets to sit down as the narrator, tell the story, and this is the story that he chooses to tell. It's called, again, The Tale of the Phantom Cab. And it starts with these two brothers, Denny and Buzz, okay? Now, Denny, the older one, he's characterized as a more athletic, more outgoing, smart, trustworthy, all these things, somebody to look up to. However, the way he acts certainly is not. He's pretty much just a big bully to his younger brother named Buzz. Now, Buzz, very different. These two are almost like, they're about as close as chalk and cheese, I guess. So Buzz's thing, and he's the younger brother. He is the quintessential geek. He's got something to prove to his older brother, and he's very eager to do so. He's smaller, not as athletic. You get the idea. So these two brothers out on a hike. The day starts pretty well. Sun's out. It's not cold. However, they eventually realize, due to what honestly comes down to being a secret love affair between the dude's compass and his metal belt buckle, they end up being lost because dude holds his compass down by his crotch, and that disrupted the compass, right? Oh, these two brothers are officially lost because of that. They don't know where they are. They do have a map, but one of them drops it, the other one spills water on the thing, and now it's illegible. That's how maps work, I guess. You spill a little bit of water on it, and now you can't read anything on the map. That's just the way it is. I don't write the 90s shows, I just watch them, all right? Now, the more and more they realize they're lost, Denny, the older brother, gets more and more aggressive towards his younger brother. He starts like making a fist at him and threatening him, and it's not fun to watch, okay? If you're a younger brother, it makes you feel sick because you have the responsibility of taking care of your younger brother, and you just don't want to see, an older brother act that way. And if you're a younger brother in this situation, you want to impress your older brother that everybody else looks up to, and you're blowing it, man. Not a good spot to be in for either one of them. Eventually, night falls. It's cold. By the way, we're in the Canadian wilderness. I don't know if I mentioned that or not, but it's cold up there, and it's nighttime now. In the middle of the woods, it's not a pleasant place to be. Also, it's very scary. The atmosphere, at least in the episode, is foggy. You can hear twigs breaking that you don't think you stepped on, but you can still hear them breaking. Anyway, super unsettling, very disturbing. Mwah. Chef's smooch. That's what I say. I don't say that. I don't know why I said that. Now, just when all hope seems to be lost and they can't get any more lost, I know I said lost twice, a mysterious shadowy figure appears off in the woods, and we end up seeing this dude. His name is Flynn. He offers to help the brothers find safe harbor and get them out of the woods. Brothers don't trust this dude right away, and rightfully so. He looks like he walked right out of an audition for, the world's creepiest uncle in every 90s sitcom. That's what he looks like to me. Sorry, dude. And you know what's kind of funny, not funny, is I've got friends now that kind of look like Flynn does in 1992. Might be something to that. There's nothing immediately off with Flynn, but it is weird that he's by himself in the middle of the woods at night, and he comes across these two brothers that are obviously lost, and he offers to help them. He doesn't make any moves, he's not aggressive, he really just seems helpful. But the music and the fog and the atmosphere of everything, that's just not the vibe that we're really picking up on. Anyway, Flynn eventually tells the boys how to get to this quaint little cottage where a doctor's in there. He can help them get out of the woods. Fast forward just a little bit, boys end up in the cottage with imagine Hagrid, but he's like 5'8", calls himself Dr. Vink. I don't know what he's got a doctoral degree in, but he says he does, right?
Observe. This guy's a nutbag.
So Dr. Vink, this is the first time we get to meet a recurring character. We don't know it yet, but dang, dude, his first appearance is really a good one. I love his I'm not a nutbag quote that will come back later.
And I am not a nutbag.
So inside this, I'm going to put it in air quotes, quaint cottage, we have all sorts of different kinds of specimens of flora and fauna. We've got jars of things that are just floating in water. It's a big mess of mad scientist experiments, and if you've got ADHD, you might be able to relate. You've got 10 different experiments open at the same time, haven't finished a single one of them, but there they all are for just when you're ready to finish them. That's the vibe that we have going on. Dr. Vink offers to help these brothers.
But first, a riddle. Try this one. How far can you walk into the woods?
He gives them a layup riddle that Buzz solves pretty quickly.
He asked how far he can walk into the woods. Halfway. After that, you'd be walking out.
Good! Very good!
This impresses the doctor, and while Dr. Vink is thinking of riddles and then issuing the riddles to the boys, they're both just asking this dude, listen, I see you've got a phone right there. Can I please just call my parents? Let them know that I'm safe. Let them know where I think I am so that they can come get me? Please, let's get out of here already. I thought you were here to help. But as soon as Denny walks over to the phone line, Dr. Vink grabs his big-ass gardening shears and threatens to cut the line on the phone. Not a cool move, dude. So that's the first aggressive thing that this doctor has done, right? He doesn't want the boys to leave until he's had some fun with some riddles. Like I said, he throws up the layup riddle. Buzz solves it pretty quickly, but then he thinks of a harder one. And the riddle in question, also before I tell you the riddle, this is something so smart. I'm sure it was intentional that show creator DJ McHale and the writers did. It's so easy for us to put ourselves in the shoes of these two boys and like, what would we do in this situation? It's just, we're sitting there on the couch with our Rice Krispie treat cereals, and we get to hear Dr. Vink issue this riddle, and it's just hey, again, hats off to the writers there. that just made it so easy for us to put ourselves in the predicament that these boys found themselves in and relate to these two boys. You know, what if I was in that situation? Could I get out if I knew the riddle? Let's see. Good for them.
What is it that has no weight, can be seen by the naked eye, and if you put it in a barrel, it would make the barrel lighter?
I didn't know this one at first when I watched it, obviously when I was single digits in age, or either when I watched it as an adult again very recently. I didn't know the answer. I thought it was almost, a non-answer, as if he could stump them and trap them in his cabin forever. That's almost what I thought.
Wait a minute, no fair. You can't put a riddle in a story that can't be solved.
It becomes apparent that the boys cannot solve this riddle, so they do what they probably should have done 20 minutes ago and just bolted out the front door, running and screaming with their arms in the air. That's what they should have done. Thank goodness they eventually did that when they realized they had no other choice, right? So out they run out of this murder hut, quaint cottage, and they happen upon this bright yellow taxi in the middle of the woods. They get in, and guess who it is? It's our boy Flynn. He's actually a ghost, and it's his job to ferry every person who couldn't solve these riddles in Dr. Vink's cabin to their death. Ghost Flynn was actually sentenced to his own curse and having to relive this loop every single night. So it's implied that almost every night, someone or some people go into Dr. Vink's cabin lost, can't answer the riddles, and then get ferried off to their deaths. Repeatedly, over and over. And Flynn has to be the one to do this deed every single night because he couldn't solve the original riddle back when he was younger, I guess. I'm just filling in blanks here, bear with me. Once Flynn exposition dumps all of this onto the boys, they realize that they're about to crash, and they're about to die, and they're scared, and then Buzz, in a moment of clarity, comes up with the answer to the riddle.
I got it! I know the answer!
What is it?
But, and if you've seen this episode, you probably know exactly where I'm going. They're mere seconds away from this ghost taxi hitting this tree, ending it all, and he knows the answer to the riddle that could just solve everything and break the curse, for them at least. But instead of just shouting out the answer, he repeats the riddle as slowly as possible.
It's weightless, you can see it, and if you put it in a barrel, it'll make the barrel lighter.
Say it!
It's dreadful to watch. They're probably going for the suspenseful, build it up kind of climactic moment, and I get it for sure, but as a viewer, you're just like, dude, you're about to just spit it out already, man, come on. So after he does this dramatic, drawn-out version of a retelling of the riddle, he finally shouts out the answer. And if you didn't already know, the answer to the riddle is...
It's a hole! It's a hole in the barrel!
In that moment, we get this cool, cutscene, this kind of hidden cutscene, where we get to see the taxi cab disappear, and then we get to see the boys on the ground safe. Thank goodness. So they were able to, at the last millisecond, break their own fate, their own curse, and solve the riddle that would then save their lives. Finn goes on to, of course, die another night the next night for the next round of unlucky kids. At that moment, a state trooper rolls up on the two boys, finds them. It's not... You would think that, the third person that they would kind of happen upon, coincidentally, or maybe serendipitously, would be another ne'er-do-well, dare I say.
Oh man, not again.
But no, this is an actual good guy. He tells Buzz and Denny, actually, I think he asks them if they are Buzz and Denny. The boys say yes, they are. And he says, thank goodness, your parents are worried sick about you. They've been looking for you. The whole town's looking. Jump in, I'll take you home. You're good to go. Good happy ending. Now, the cool twist at the end here is him and I suppose the other sheriff's deputies and stuff, they go to where the boy said that the cottage was, but they don't see anything. There's nothing but a foundation, a bunch of overgrown weeds, like it hasn't been there for lifetimes. That, I think, was pretty cool. Now we cut back to the group in the Midnight Society. Frank ends the story, everybody's pretty impressed, and then one at a time, everybody in the Midnight Society gives their thumbs up, their seal of approval. Frank, unanimously, was upvoted by the entire group. He gets the stay in the Midnight Society and tell another story when it's his turn in 6 weeks. I don't know what the rotation is. I wasn't there. Here's kind of a cool fun fact. Every single Midnight Society scene was filmed over the span of 14 days inside a sound studio. So they weren't really in the woods. They were actually inside a manufactured warehouse. And it only took them 14 days to film the entire, intros and outros to all of the episodes in season 1. I thought that was pretty cool. Hey, do me a solid. If you like spooky nostalgia as much as I do, click the subscribe button, because around here it's pretty much Halloween all the time. I'll see you soon with another deep dive.